Ken woke up. It was his holiday, finally. He would do so many things. Ken didn't know what to do, so he went and watched TV. But he didn't just watch TV for 10 minutes. He watched TV for 3 hours. Then Ken noticed that his eyes hurt. "Ow!" said Ken. "My eyes hurt." So Ken stopped watching TV and read a book. But he didn't just read 10 pages. He read the book for 5 hours. Then Ken noticed that his eyes still hurt. "Ow!" said Ken. "My eyes still hurt. Maybe I need to go outside. If I go outside, maybe my eyes won't hurt." So Ken went to the cinema and watched a film. But he didn't just watch one film. He watched 3 films, and he was at the cinema for 7 hours. Afterwards, Ken came outside and noticed that his eyes still hurt. "Ow," said Ken. "How do my eyes still hurt? I don't understand." By now, it was late and Ken was tired, so he went home and went to bed. But Ken didn't just sleep for 8 hours. He slept for 20 hours. When Ken woke up, he noticed that his eyes didn't hurt. "Hooray!" said Ken. "My eyes don't hurt." But then Ken stood up and noticed that his back hurt. "Ow!" said Ken. "Why does my back hurt? Oh, well, I'll go watch TV." Lisa loved brushing her teeth. Most people brush their teeth twice a day, but Lisa brushed her teeth much more than twice a day. She didn't know how many times a day she brushed her teeth because she brushed them so often. In the morning, Lisa sat on the bus and brushed her teeth. A man who sat next to her said, "Why are you brushing your teeth?" Lisa said, "I don't want cavities. You should brush your teeth too. You'll get cavities, and then you'll have to get a filling." When Lisa got to work, she sat at her desk and brushed her teeth. Jenny sat next to Lisa. Jenny was talking on the phone. "Lisa," said Jenny, "I can't hear what they're saying because you're brushing your teeth. Stop it." "No," said Lisa. "I don't want cavities and fillings. You should brush your teeth while you talk on the phone." After work, Lisa went for a drink with her friend Sang. They drank beer, and Sang talked about his girlfriend. But every time Lisa drank beer, she brushed her teeth. "Lisa," said Sang, "I'm talking to you about my girlfriend, but you're not listening. Stop brushing your teeth." "Sang, you and your girlfriend can get cavities, but I don't want them. Fillings are expensive." The next day, Lisa went to the dentist. At the dentist, 3 other people were waiting. There was the man from the bus, Jenny from work, and Lisa's friend Sang. "Hello," Lisa said to them. The man from the bus went into the dentist's office, and he came out smiling. "The doctor says my teeth are great." Next, Jenny went into the dentist's office, and she came out smiling. "See, Lisa, my teeth are fine." Next, Sang went into the dentist's office, and he came out smiling as well. "Lisa, you really worry too much." Then Lisa went into the dentist's office. The dentist looked at her teeth. "Oh dear," he said. "What?" said Lisa. "Are my teeth perfect?" "No. You have 20 cavities." "What?" said Lisa. "I think you're brushing your teeth too much. There are too many cavities, so we can't use fillings. We will have to use a big hammer to take all your teeth out. Then we'll take the teeth from a cow and use a small hammer to put the cow's teeth in your mouth." "What?" said Lisa. The next day, Lisa went into work. Jenny smiled at her and said, "Lisa, how are your teeth?" Lisa opened her mouth and said, "Moo." Vladimir loved his toenails. He didn't like his fingernails, but his toenails were very special to him. They were long and beautiful. Vlad never cut his toenails, and he always wore sandals, so everyone could see them. Vlad also loved his job. Everyone looked at his toenails all the time, and he thought they must want toenails like his. But in winter, it was really too cold to wear sandals. So Vlad's boss said, "Vlad, you're wearing sandals in winter. Aren't you cold?" "I understand, boss," said Vlad. "When you see me tomorrow, my feet won't be cold." Vlad went and bought a mini radiator and put it on his feet. Now his feet were nice and warm, but everyone could still see his long, beautiful toenails. Vlad's boss wasn't happy, but Vlad didn't understand why. His feet were warm now, weren't they? One day, Vlad's mini radiator broke. It went boom. It destroyed his desk. It destroyed his computer. It destroyed the entire office. Vlad's boss was very happy. "I'm so sorry, Vlad," he said, "but as you can see, your radiator has destroyed the office, so you can't work here anymore." "Really?" said Vlad. "But you'll all be so sad without my toenails. You look at them every day. Please, I really want to work here." "Well," said Vlad's boss, "you're right. Your toenails are so lovely, but nobody can work because they're looking at your toenails all the time. So I think it's better to wear shoes at work, don't you think? Not sandals. Then everyone can work better." Now Vlad understood. His toenails were too beautiful. The radiator probably broke because his toenails were so beautiful. "Yes, sir," said Vlad, and he ran to the shoe shop. But Vlad's toenails were so long that all the shoes were too small for him. They tried putting the shoes on, but the toenails were just too long, and they were strong. The shop assistant tried cutting them, but they were too strong. She tried breaking them with a hammer, but they were too strong. She tried eating them, but they were too strong. "I'm sorry," she said, "but you cannot wear shoes." Vlad was very sad. He loved his work, but his toenails were more important. As Vlad walked down the street, a man ran towards him. "That man stole my bag," a woman cried. Vlad saw that the man was carrying a bag. But what could Vlad do? He wasn't a hero. He tried to move away from the man, but then the man stood on Vlad's toenails. "Ow," said the man. The bag fell, and Vlad took it to the woman. "Here you go." "Oh, thank you," she said. "I'm so lucky that you were there. You have such strong toenails. You're a hero." "Ah," said Vlad, "I'm a hero." So now Vlad had a new job. He was a hero who used his toenails. Maybe he wasn't Superman or Batman, but did Superman and Batman have beautiful toenails? No, they didn't.
Long ago, when the Celts still ruled Europe, there was a brave king of the Britons called Hura. He ruled with kindness, and he never gave up in a battle. King Hura was engaged to a beautiful woman called Rhiannon. When they celebrated their wedding, it was a huge event, and people from all the country around were invited. So the king was not surprised when a group of men rode in who he did not recognize. "Hello, friends," he cried. "Dismount your horses, take off your riding clothes, and come join the banquet. But first, do me the honor of knowing your names and where you come from." When the strange men dismounted, it became clear that they were very short. In fact, they were so short that they couldn't be regular men. They were of the fairy folk. Around the room, people began to talk about them. The fairy folk held great magic, and they were dangerous, but they also gave amazing gifts. Many people would risk their life to get a present from the fairies. "Hello, King of the Britons," said the leader of the fairies. "I am Broger, King of the Dwarves. I come only for the dwarves and not the other fairy folk, but know that we come in peace." He smiled. "Let us make a deal. We shall join your wedding banquet, and when I get married, you and your men will come to my wedding." The king was very happy. It was an honor to be invited into the land of the fairies. At first, he thought it might be a trick, as everyone knew fairies love tricks. But if the king of the dwarves wanted to trick him, he would invite him alone. With his men, he would be risking nothing, as they had fought and killed many Saxons. He did not fear men as short as Broger. "Your deal is a wonderful idea," said Hurla. "Come, join the banquet." After the parting was over, when the king sat in bed with his wife, they spoke of the fairy folk and their deal. "Are you sure this is a good idea, my king?" said Rhiannon. "In my country, they tell stories about the fairies. They can trick anyone. They can." "Don't worry, wife," said Hurla. "He may never get married, but let's hope he does, because I am sure we will get great gifts from them. They might give us magic which can help us destroy the Saxons. If they try to trick us, our men will kill them. What can those little dwarves do in battle, really?" A year passed and Hurla ruled. He fought many battles with the Saxons and won every one. One day, Broger and his men came to visit the king to tell him that his wedding was taking place. So the king said goodbye to his wife, took his best men, and rode off to the land of the dwarves. They came to a big mountain, and Hurla wondered if they were going to climb over it. But then a crack appeared in the mountain, and they rode through it. At first it was dark and cold, and the king and his men could see nothing. But then finally they came to a place of light and music. The land of the dwarves was beautiful, and the wedding banquet was great fun. They ate and drank and sang, and the fairies gave the men many gifts. Still, the king was worried. He did not want to stay away from his country for too long, as the Saxons often attacked it. But whenever he tried to tell Broger that they were leaving, someone put a drink in his hand and danced with him. So in the end, they spent 3 days at the dwarves' banquet. When they finally left, Broger gave the king one more present. "This hunting dog is the best I own. I am giving it to you to guide you home. But be careful. Do not dismount your horses until the dog dismounts by himself." The king thought this was strange, but thanked the dwarf for this one last gift. So they rode out of the crack in the mountain, and when the king turned around, the crack was gone. They rode for a while, and the land looked different. The king couldn't understand. They had only been gone for 3 days, hadn't they? But something had changed. The first man they saw was a shepherd. "Hello, shepherd," said the king. "Bring me news of my queen, Rhiannon." The shepherd looked at them strangely and spoke in a different language. "Welken Gethiod Sprixthu?" The men were surprised and very worried. The man did not speak Celtish, but Saxon. "What is happening?" said the king. "How is a Saxon man a shepherd here in Britain?" He spoke a little Saxon, so he asked the man, "What happened to Rhiannon?" The shepherd listened slowly and seemed to understand a little. In very slow Saxon, he told them, "Rhiannon is dead. She existed a long time ago, but not now. Now the Saxons rule this land. We have ruled for 200 years. Hurla could not believe it. The Saxons had won the battle, and Britain was theirs. Some of his men were so shocked that they fell from their horses. However, Hurla remembered what the dwarf had said. When the men touched the ground, they turned into dust. "We will ride on," said the king. "We will find Rhiannon, because I cannot believe that she has died. If the fairies took us away, perhaps they took her as well. And remember, until this dog dismounts, do not place a foot on the ground." So the king and his men began their journey. At first they rode in the day, but the Saxons did not like this and often attacked them. So they started to ride only at night. People thought they were ghosts or fairies and kept far away from them. They traveled very far, but they never found the queen. And still the dog did not dismount. They lived their whole lives on the horses, hunting and eating without dismounting. All the king wanted was to be reunited with his wife. Hurla told himself he would never give up. He had never given up during the battles with the Saxons, but he could not keep his hope. Britain was lost, and so was his wife. Finally, they came to the River Wye. The king did not tell his men what he was doing, but he did not need to. The river was long. If the waters carried his dust away, perhaps he would one day be reunited with Rhiannon. So the king walked into the river, and all his men followed him. The last king of the Britons and all his men turned into dust, and the river carried them away. When all the men were gone, the dog finally dismounted and began its long journey home. Some say that King Hurla and his men never found peace, that they traveled the rivers like ghosts. But others say that Rhiannon was taken by other fairy folk, those who live under the sea. They say that King Hurla and his men traveled the waters for years, and the two lovers were reunited. Who can say? This knowledge has been lost to time, just like the Celts lost to the Saxons. But remember, if a fairy offers to make you a deal, you could be risking more than just your life.